Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. You see the smile on my face? I have the smile on my face because I get to hang out with my friend, Sam Jolman, who I've been wanting to sit with for a long time. He is a therapist and an author, and he's an author of the book, The Sex Talk You Never Got. I said that right, right? The Sex Talk
hmm
You Never Got.
That's right.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some real stuff today. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Johnny, I've been looking forward to this as well. We got to hug in a band concert for our children, our
That's
junior hires, and not so much children anymore, our young men and women. But
yeah,
man,
man.
I've been looking forward to getting to hang out and talk shop, talk the kingdom, talk life. So
Yeah. Oh, I attacked this man. I attacked him. I saw him at the function, and I was like, I'm gonna hug this guy. He doesn't even know me. I read his book. Book changed my life. Book blessed me so much. We're gonna get into that. But yeah, I'm so glad you're here. So we're gonna start just getting to know you a bit, Sam. And would you mind just starting with maybe a defining moment in your life? Would you tell us a
mm.
defining moment?
well, yeah, a couple of them. My coming of age story was defining to me. I met God for the first time. I was sitting with a girl in a Mustang, an old Mustang. It was her first car. And this was a girl I was really into in our junior year of high school. And I remember I'd grown up in the church, but man, I couldn't stomach God. And it felt like the thing that was always getting shoved down my throat. And what's this about? And I was really into this girl. We were sitting in her car, and she just started asking questions, about the meaning of life. And I there was something about me, God using that moment of my attraction to this girl
Yeah.
and our conversation sitting in her car, that transformed me and opened my heart to be curious about God. And it was within that week that like my life transformed. It was literally like an awakening from God
Yeah.
at 17. And I
Wow.
could read my Bible and actually like, oh my goodness, this is saying something. Whereas before it felt like blah, 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 and it was just an awakening from God, and that God used my attraction to a girl to move me. Now, we didn't end up dating,
Yeah.
much to my heartbreak. But, I still am grateful for her because of um, just her opening up a conversation with me about the meaning of life and God
Yep.
was working in her heart.
Yep.
And, and then I would say, another defining moment would be, when I met my wife, and another moment of God. Now, at that point, I was 20 and something, and we met in college, and it was another moment of God initiating something in me that had not been initiated, because I had not gotten the sex talk, right? I did not know how to step into my sexuality. I was starting to step into my spiritual self, right? And was awakened, my soul. But there was something about stepping into my sexuality. And, that was a whole journey that God took me 2 years to ask my wife out.
Yeah.
That's how long I nursed a crush on her. But that was a moment of God initiating the lover in me.
Yeah.
So those are two defining moments.
Dude. Let's talk about the lover a little bit. You use that's language that you use in your book. I think it's very important language that you use to frame the entire sex talk, and that's part of why, your book just changed my heart so much because something you said early in the book, which is we're all lovers. Men were created to be lovers.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. We are so committed to defining masculinity in our culture by its toughness, right? The warrior, the man of grit, the man of strength, right? And those are beautiful characteristics. If you're going to be a man in the world, by the way, if you're going to be a woman in the world, the same, but you've got to have grit. You've got to have strength, right? You've got, those are good virtues in a man. But, they keep a man two-dimensional if you don't also address the fact that every man is a lover. A lover is simply this: the man who can love anything, right, in life, right? Whether that's your kids, a beautiful sunset, but particularly it's also the anchor of your sexuality, that You are made to fall in love, and you have all of the same capacity as a woman
Yeah.
to emotionally attach,
Yep.
to be in love,
Yep.
to feel sensuality,
Yep.
right? Which is the experiencing the world through your senses,
Yeah.
right? The beauty of a sunset, the beauty of a waterfall, the taste of a good steak, right? Like all those things are part of you being a lover, as well as being a lover of God. So being a worshiper,
Yeah.
right? And falling in love and being in awe of God,
Yeah.
is also a part of your lover heart.
Yep.
And we don't talk about that
Yep.
in our pictures of masculinity, and it leaves out this huge part of who you are as a man. And most men, find a way to embody it, but they often hide it. Meaning, like, the guy will come into my office and say to me, I guess I'm more like the woman in the relationship because I like the emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Or I like romance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do we have to say it that way?
Right.
Right? Like, what is wrong with our picture of masculinity? That if you want emotional connection, somehow you're more like a woman?
Crazy.
It's crazy.
But rampant.
So,
like it's the air we breathe.
yes, exactly. Right. It's, even the way we talk about sexuality in men, right? Men want sex. Women want romance. Right? That is so false. Because guess what? Women are created just as sexual as men. Men are not more sexual than women.
Yep.
Right? We
Yep.
all have equal amounts of neural connections to our genitalia.
Yeah.
Right? You are designed and wired for sexual pleasure, both men and women.
Yes.
So, and men are also romantic. They're made to be the romantic.
Yep. Yes, sir. I love, there was one part in your book where you talked about the beginning, like we think the sex talk is like this thing that happens in a moment in time. Like when my dad actually tried to have the sex talk with me when I was, I don't know, probably 13 or something like that. And I just remember him walking up to me and saying, all right, John, we need to talk about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees, and we need to talk about, and I said, Dad, I was like, I already know. Like, no. And I refused.
Yeah. Right.
And my dad was like,
Right.
good talk. All right. And,
Yeah.
moved on. Right.
High
Because
five.
we think it's this moment in time where somebody
Yes.
just tells you all the mechanics.
Yes.
But you said in your book, you're like, no. The beginning of the sex talk is maybe even appreciating a sunset with your son.
Yes.
With your kid. Can you unpack that a little bit? That moment was profound for me.
Yes. And you said it well by saying there's the mechanics. And this comes from a woman, Esther Perel. She says there's the mechanics of sex, which is how the plumbing works. Tab A, slot A, right? And we think, well, now you know what sex is. And it's true. You know a bit of what sex is. You know the mechanics, right? But even that often leaves out how we talk about a woman's genitalia, often leaves out her pleasure, right? We say vagina instead of vulva. But even there, right, it's just the mechanics. And this writer, Esther Perel, says there's also the poetics.
Yeah.
Which I just love. Right? There's the mechanics of sex and the poetics. And poetics is the realm of desire. Meaning what brings these two bodies together to make love, right? There's a whole story, and which is the enormously more complicated part. Now, again, the plumbing is complicated in itself. Right? And learning your body, learning your partner's body, learning what brings them pleasure, walking them through the arousal cycle. But the poetics, desire, right, is where there's a whole world that matters, right? Like you're saying, can you appreciate beauty?
Yes.
What does it mean to have awe in the presence of beauty so that you can have awe for your partner and their beauty and appreciate their beauty? What does it mean? I think of Adam in the garden, right? The first man to ever see a naked woman. Who, by the way, was also naked himself, right? Here are two naked lovers coming together to form the human community. What's the first thing he does? He breaks out in poetry. Right? He first writes a poem.
Yeah.
It's not, let's go have sex.
Right.
And I mean, so again, if we're to define masculinity by that, right? What I'm saying, I'm not saying you all have to become a poet, although I think that would be cool. I think you have it in you, but I am saying that you're a poet lover,
Yes.
right? That there's something about your heart that was meant to be moved with your body.
Yes.
And teaching, our sons, even our daughters, about that world, right? Involves a lot more than just how the plumbing works.
Man, I'll tell you, this is a great place for me to kind of tell you my experience. So I read this book, and shout out to Drew Bartels, who's my brother-in-law, who actually was first impacted and healed in many ways by this book. And then when Drew tells me to read a book, I read it because he's always he finds the good stuff first a lot of the time. And so he sent me this book and I start reading it, and and it was just, but even Drew talking to me about it was changing me, right? Because we meet we were meeting every week for accountability, and even him talking, and there was something about, I'm a lover. I was created to be a lover, and I love sunsets, and I can have awe in the face of beauty. That's what I was created to do. And then my wife is like the sunset. My wife is also, right, someone I get to be in awe of. And this is all good and right. And this all goes back to God's design, which is much bigger than slot A and slot B. It is a much larger story, a much more glorious story that could make a person want to burst into song. And so when I had the talk with my son, my 12-year-old son, impacted by this book and by the teachings, and my mind opened to, it's more than just the mechanics. Then I took him over to his favorite restaurant for breakfast, which is Urban Egg over here in town, the best pancakes in town. Hey, I say, you can ask me anything, ask me, but and we're gonna talk about this. And it wasn't in a vacuum. Like I had already talked with him about some of the things before, but I got to basically just draw the picture of the beauty. Like it was like, I'm going to start with the beauty of what this is.
Yes.
Beauty of what God created.
Well
and
done.
What God intended. And God's story and how this fits into the story. And let me tell you something, bro. When I started to get into it, my son was in awe, bro. I came from a fear-based way of doing it, right?
Yes, that's, yep.
Where it was like, the goal is, I need to tell you about this dangerous thing that could end you up getting a girl pregnant, and you better not do and so there's fear, and you're gripped by fear, and you transmit that fear to your kids because it's like, I have to make them afraid so they don't make the worst mistake of their life, right?
Yes.
Instead of starting with, there's this beautiful thing that will make you burst into song, and it's wonderful, and it's so special between you and a woman when it happens, and God wants it to happen, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna be dope, bro. And let's be pumped about what God has done,
Johnny. Okay, that is a master class in showing up for your son well. Well freaking done, man.
Thank you, sir.
That is amazing.
Dude.
Right, and I, to highlight, the bad only makes sense if you first know the good.
Yes.
Right? Then know why. Yeah. Then you don't have to live with the fear of it.
Right.
Right? You get to live with what would be called a values-based ethic for sex versus a fear-based ethic for sex, right? Because the fear-based is what I got as well, which is kind of be afraid of your sexuality because it could lead to lust. It could lead, and it's all of this trying to hold back something, and it never lets you feel it, embody it, dream about it, right? Or if you do, it's in secret and you feel kind of guilty.
Yes. And there's shame all over this thing, all the shame. And it's why? Why? I'm a married man who's married the love of my wife. Why would shame even be a feature?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Because we have equated it with shame and with guilt and with danger and with fear.
Yes, that's right.
And there's another way. That's what you're saying. There's another way.
Yes. And to understand that, shame is also the hope, Satan's hope, evil's greatest hope for your sexuality is that you bury it in sin and shame, right? Because, that scene of Adam meeting Eve, right, in Genesis 2, it kind of closes with this kind of curtain close of like Adam and Eve were naked and felt no shame.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have a chapter division, chapter 3, and we think it's like, bathroom break, go get more popcorn, come back. And then it starts another chapter. Right. But if you think about it, like the original did not have these chapter divisions. It goes in the original, it would read this way. Adam and Eve were naked and felt no shame. Now the serpent was more crafty. Right. That quickly, Satan comes to assault their naked, free, shame-free sexuality.
Yes.
And their love, right? And what's his greatest weapon? Obviously, he's tempting them into sin. But the goal there also would be that along with that, he's introducing shame. Right? So now they feel naked. Right? God's second question to them is, who told you were naked?
Yeah.
No. Right? Like, you're not meant to feel shame for this.
Yeah.
For your sexuality. Right? And obviously nakedness is a symbol of vulnerability. It's also literal.
Yep.
That you wouldn't feel ashamed of your body. Right? And its design. So yes, I would say, Satan comes early in all of our stories to try to join shame to our arousal, shame to our sexual curiosity, shame to our intrigue about it.
Yes. Yes. And part of that, like, you can totally understand, right? Because what's the thing in my, I was a pastor for 10 years. What is the most common struggle that men have, right? The most common struggle that I know of, that's stealing their inheritance, that's stealing their joy, that's actually even stealing their literal families, has to do with sex and sexuality and pornography and use of it, right?
Right.
So why are we scared? Well, we're scared because I saw my brother go down, right? I mean, like my brother in Christ. I saw him go down. I saw this dude over here go down. I saw that pastor go down, right? We get scared, and so we're like, okay, we just got, I guess we have to put it in this place of fear, which then cuts off, right, all these places of benefit that God intended for us.
Yes.
But then how do you hold that tension, Sam? Like, for people that are listening, like, yeah, this is great what you guys are saying, but I also know it destroys people. So
yeah, and I would say, most of us nowadays, and I would say it's just true of living outside of Eden, we don't know what it even feels like to be free of shame. We have no category for that feeling, right? Unless you've started to do work around your story, your sexuality, you've engaged God, you've known the freedom of God's grace for you, right? The extravagant grace of God for you. All those things together, right, is when you can start to feel what it would be like without shame. But most of us, what shame invites is hiding, right? The instinct, shame is actually, you can feel shame for about 0.8 seconds.
Yeah.
In reality, shame is deadly.
Yeah.
Research would say shame to the body registers as trauma, as a fight or flight response, meaning it's the same response you would have in the presence of a bear.
Wow.
Except you're the bear.
Wow.
So you're trying to run from yourself, right?
Wow.
This part of you feel is really bad and really broken, or really exposing and shameful, right? And embarrassing. So you shut it down and you try to cut yourself off from it. The difficulty there is most of us then live split.
Yeah.
Right? We aren't integrated well with our sexuality.
Right.
And so the pull is, right, if you feel shame for something, you're going to be tempted to do shameful things with it.
Yeah.
Right? Those go together.
Because
and
you're
so,
hiding. You're
again,
already hiding. Yeah.
Yes, you're already hiding it. And so the pull for Satan then to engage you there with temptation, right? Because you tend to isolate then that part of you, or at least your life around it. And so again, ultimately, yes, are these things, our responsibility, and is there sin? Yes. But there's also setup, right? There are reasons that you're set up to be tempted, right? Satan has been at this for a long time.
Yeah.
He's not going to just throw random temptations. He knows your story.
Yeah.
He's read your file.
Yeah. Come
He
on, bro.
knows the places,
Yeah.
right? Where he can start to whisper to you. So
Yeah.
what I'm inviting is, in the realm of sexuality, if you haven't engaged your shame, if you haven't engaged your story and the reasons you have that shame,
Yeah.
right? And you have that fear of yourself, then you're going to be just set up for more
Yeah.
temptation.
Yeah. Yeah. And so part of how you're helping people get free, this is amazing, right? Is by inviting them into this place of acknowledging that I'm the lover, and acknowledging the awe, and acknowledging the beauty, which
Yes.
I think common practice has been like, all right, you got to get this under control, right? You've got to be afraid. No, we're not going to talk about the beauty and the joy of this thing at all, right? We're going to talk
Right.
about how you got to get this thing under control. Why would we pour gas on that fire? We've got to get you acting right. We got to get you acting right. And so the way to get you to act right is, yes, it's shameful. Yes, it's fear-based. Yes, we've got to get you to engage in these behaviors. Yes, we've got to get you this level of accountability. Not to say that accountability is wrong or anything. I'm just saying, I'm talking about this framework with which we have addressed sexual sin,
Right.
which is fear-based, as opposed to, I think, what you're promoting, which is hope-based and joy-based and healing-based, and helping a person reconnect their heart to the original design for
Right.
sex as the antidote to
Right.
the distortions. Am I saying
Yes,
that
that's right.
well?
You're saying that very well. Yes. In other words, the contrast of you're an animal driven by lust, and you need to treat it as, you need to cage your sexuality in its bad behavior. And you know what? You're just going to have this every man's battle. You're just going to stumble, and it's just going to kind of be this drudgery thing that you do the rest of your life because you're an animal.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, no, you're not.
Come on.
Do not accept that truth about yourself. That's not true. You are not an animal.
Yeah.
You are the image of God, right?
Yes.
Psalm 8. David, what is man that you're mindful of us, the son of man that you care for us? You made us a little lower, and the word there can be translated, you made us a little lower than God.
Yeah.
Right? We translate it, you made us a little lower than the heavenly beings, right? Angels.
Yeah.
But another alternative is God himself. So you were made a little bit less than. And again, that little bit matters. You are not God, right?
Yes, sir.
You are his creature, but you are glorious. And so for me to say you're a lover, you are capable of living with an integrated sexuality, right? To me, that's a different story. And so then just, man, you're going to behave bad and you need to like really work on the habits and the behavior side of it. There is a place for that. But the other part is to say, to begin to be curious.
Yes.
About what got you there.
Yes.
Why were you tempted? And I would say most men look at me like, what? That's what I'm trying to forget. Even the question of like, let's say with like pornography use, what did you look at?
Yeah.
What was arousing about it?
Yeah.
Right? All of seeing those as beginning to be roads to your own story.
Yes.
Your needs.
Yes.
If I can give a story example of that.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, I had a client and he's given me permission, and I'm changing some facts to protect him, but he also gave me permission. He said one day, he came in and he confessed, like, which is always brave. Hey, I looked at pornography this last week and I want to talk about it. And, that's always a brave admission when a man comes out and gets out of isolation. And I said, well, what happened? And he's like, well, my wife, I had a hard day at work. My wife texted me to get some things from the grocery store on the way home. So I stopped by the grocery store to get stuff for dinner, and I forgot some things on her list. So I get home and my wife was mad at me. Right? And again, understandably, she was disappointed. Oh, you forgot the things. Now we can't have that meal. Or, she had to make substitutes. So she was frustrated, and rightfully so. And he said, and he hadn't really thought about what had preceded the moment, but he said that night is when I looked at porn. And I said, okay. So, it came out of a marriage fight. So then I asked him, well, what did you look at?
Yeah.
Right. And he was like, really? Like, isn't that what I'm trying to forget? Right. Like, that would be really bad to remember. And and he had been in counseling enough to know I was probably going to ask that. Right. And so he sat back for a second and his answer blew me away. What he said is, with tears streaming down his face, I think I was looking for a woman with a really genuine smile. Yeah, that's what he could acknowledge and connect with. In other words, can you begin to hear? His wife was frustrated, understandably. And rather than engage her with like, hey, I kind of felt hurt by your frustration, or like do some repair, he took his heart away.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yes.
went and found a woman with a smile, which is what he wanted from his wife.
Yeah.
In a porn woman.
Man.
Which, of course, is not really smiling at him.
Right.
Right? So he didn't really get the thing. And in the end, it just ends with more shame.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't end with any healing.
And more separation.
And more separation. And, and even that, and, I won't share all of his story, but even that ache for a woman with a smile went all the way back to a story with his mother, and how the only way he could get a smile from his mother was through giving her back massages, right? As she would lament some of her own heartache, which was obviously not a role a son should play, right? So that's a story in itself of his own wounding.
Yes.
Right? So again, what I'm saying is like, it's not just bad behavior. This was so meaningful to this man's heart.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes. Yes. And the answer is to go bring Jesus into that space.
Yes.
Right? That you're afraid to go.
Yes.
Right? But you can look at the bear. Right?
Yes.
God is with me, right? Or I can run from the bear forever, and I'll never find out that I was strong enough to beat the bear because I run from the bear for my whole life.
Yes.
Right? Until there will come a time by the grace of God when I can look at the bear and I can know who's with me, and then because of who is with me, I can go and kill that. I can go fight that bear. Right? And then I learn something about myself, and I learn something about my God.
Right. Right. Romans 2. It's the kindness of God that leads us to repentance.
Yes.
Right? Jesus' kindness is the way that we change.
Yeah.
It is not the rage of God that leads us to repentance, right? It's not, gosh, I got to beat myself up. No.
Yeah.
Will you suffer the kindness of God?
Wow.
I think, and I tell the story in my book, I know, the wild, demon-possessed naked man.
Yeah.
In the Gadarenes, right? So scary, right? And there's this story of Jesus and his disciples land on shore, and he comes running at them. Yeah. Freaking scary. Yeah. Right? And Jesus says to him, "What do you want from me?" Right? I think is what Jesus says, something like that. And, at some point, and obviously Jesus, he says, "What is your name?" And he casts the demons out of him. He deals with the evil in this man's life. Yeah. It freaks everybody out. Yeah. His disciples run away, right? The shepherds of the pigs run away.
The town wants him to leave.
The town wants him to leave. They're freaked out. Of course they are, right? But it says when the disciples came back, because they fled, when they came back, they found the man clothed and in his right mind. Talking to Jesus. Yeah. Right? Such a tender scene. So what I'm inviting is the parts of you think are wild and crazy and maniac and perverted, right? Jesus wants to sit and clothe you, put you in your right mind, and have a conversation with you. Yes.
Yes. Because the strategy of the enemy is separation. That's all he wants, is to
Yes.
keep you separated from God. If he can make you think you've done anything that's too bad for God to handle, and in so doing can get you to run away from God and to keep you from inviting God into that space, because your only solution is him, right? Like that's the only solution to this man runs up on Jesus, and the only solution to his problem is Jesus. And so he was running the right direction, actually.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right? And he
Right.
has an encounter, and Jesus does the thing that no one else could do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah, separation. Silence, separation often through silence and secrets. Right? I'm never going to tell that story. I can't open this up
Yep.
to anybody. I'm taking this to my grave.
Yeah.
Those are the sorts of things Jesus actually wants to kindly invite you to sit with.
Yep. Yep. And then when we confess those things, when we bring those things into the light, that's what the scripture's given us the model for that, right? I believe that's 1 John. If we confess, then we have fellowship one with another, and the blood of Jesus cleanses us from all unrighteousness, right? How can I have true fellowship if I can't be transparent about what's really happening inside of me?
Yeah.
Right? And that's fellowship with God, and that's fellowship with humans also, right? How can I have fellowship if I'm not going to be real? I got to be real. Then I get to have fellowship. And then when I have fellowship, the enemy needs to watch out at that point, right? Because I've always found, like, when folks tell me, like, okay, I'm going to confess this thing that I've never confessed. It's like, oh, you just got most of the way to free just there. Just by saying it. You covered most of the distance to freedom just by saying it to me.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and the wild part is, a lot of times men that come and I have those moments with, the privilege of those moments, there are certainly places of sin that we need to talk about, right? And for them to grieve. But there are also places where they believe they are perverted. And they're actually carrying stories of their own harm. That Satan has lied to them about. Meaning, like, the number of men I sit with who have stories of, even overt sexual abuse. Right? Who have said, this must be my fault. I must be perverted. Right? So, again, what I want to say is, it's not even that everything you carry is just sin. Right? Like, it could just be that you carry it in shame for another reason. Or maybe there is some of your sin, but there's other parts of the story. Right? C.S. Lewis said, the amount of reasons that we have for why we sin are so many, and God has compassion on those. Right? And again, he's not saying that we can excuse away sin. No. He's simply saying there is setup. And not all of that is your fault.
Amen. And I can imagine if a person can come to the place where they could actually accept that, right? If they could accept the unconditional love of God that says, yes, you are this way and I love you exactly as you are, right? Like, that's maybe one of the most healing things a man can have in his life, and it's been true in my own life, is a person, like for me, it's my brother-in-law, Drew, that just knows all my stuff. He knows all my stuff. I don't have any reason to hide anything from him because he knows it all, right? And he loves me.
He's a good man.
And he loves me. He consistently loves me, right? Like, even that fact is healing. It's healing for a human. And I'd say specifically for a man, I don't know. I'm sure it works the same for a woman in a lot of ways, but for men, we do carry a lot of shame.
Yes. Yeah, and what you're naming, and I would say not much in life is black and white, but this one's very black and white. There are only two ways out of shame. There's actually only one real way out. But the two ways that are to get out of shame are either, contempt, hiding, self-hatred, or contempt for someone else, right? Like trying to get people to stop paying attention to a part of you, right? Blaming other people, those sorts of things. Distracting, good word. Yeah. Or engaging the kindness of God, engaging love, bringing it into the kindness and love of God and the kindness and love of community, right? And ultimately, obviously, we know that's the only really healing one, right? Because contempt whether it's self-hatred or blaming somebody else, distraction, that's only temporary,
Yeah.
right? Because once you're alone again in secret, you're going to feel that shame.
Yeah. It's going to get triggered. It's going to get
Right.
touched. Yeah. Something's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Love is the antidote for shame. That's beautifully put. And I don't know that I've even ever thought of it in those terms, but I can say in my experience, that has been my experience consistently. So this is incredible. Now, as we're beginning to come to a close, I feel like, what I wanted to cover got covered and more.
Yeah.
This is an episode that could set people free, and I really believe that. Now, what would you like to see in the world? What is that? Because your calling is so clear, right? Like you have this calling around redeemed sexuality and around the mystery and the awe and the joy and kind of reclaiming the birthright.
Yes, that's right.
In this realm.
I love that word.
What does that look like in the world? What's your dream? What are you trying to accomplish with your book? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I love that question. It's such a good one in terms of inviting people to the vision of it. Johnny, my dream, and I cried over this with God many times as I wrote my book, but my dream would be to see a revolution of lovers.
Yeah.
So if what changed in the world is that we began to define masculinity as more three-dimensional, more human, right? That you are a warrior, right? But you are a lover.
Yeah.
Meaning like, yes, you are created for strength. You're created for protection. There's good virtue to you embodying those things. If, every man knows life takes grit. Every man knows life takes endurance and strength. Whether it's budgeting, right? Or being at the gym, right? Or staying up late talking to your wife, right? Or repairing a marriage fight, right? Like, life's going to probably ask very few of us to actually take a bullet for the people we love. Thank God.
Yeah.
But life is going to ask you to be a lover and sit in really difficult conversations and love your kids in hard moments, right? And your friends a lot.
Yeah.
So, and again, as well as like men who can talk openly about their love of beauty, their love of connecting to their wives emotionally and sexually, right? That sexuality is more integrated with all that we are, right? That being a good sexual man is not an oxymoron, right? That like that those can go together. And ultimately, that lovers leads to worshipers, that we become men who worship God. So a revolution of lovers, man.
Dude, so beautiful, man. Now, how can people get on board with that vision? One way would be buying your book, which I'll include in the notes, a link to The Sex Talk You Never Got, which is a transformative book. Buy it for yourself, buy it for other people. Like there's a fire and a passion. What Sam's not telling you, hasn't told you yet, is Sam is a poet. And so like there's a poetry in the book itself. The book it doesn't read like a text. It reads like poetry and story, and it will bring you to tears at certain moments, and it will move your heart, and it will call you higher, and it will heal things that have nothing to do with your sexuality. I'm telling you right now. Like God spoke to me in ways that transcended sexuality, because what it's doing is it's calling you up into God himself through this topic, right?
That's right.
Into God's intention and his love for you and how he feels about you. So that's one way is the book. Newsletter. I know you have a newsletter on Substack that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm writing regularly articles on Substack about this, about, all the little threads that couldn't all fit in the book or stuff that's come up after the book, right? That, so if you get on there and you have a question, you can pitch it to me. I may even write a full article on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's been a great, and Drew's been there. I've really enjoyed talking with Drew there. And so yeah, that would be another great place to have an ongoing conversation with me
Yeah.
as well.
Any other places that people can interact with you, learn more, kind of, gain some of this passion from you besides the book and the Substack?
I would say the only other thing is I do have a study guide. So, some people said, man, so much isn't stirred up in me by your book. I don't know what to do with it. And so I finally wrote a study guide.
Yeah.
That's free. So you can get that. I've had some men reach out and say, I'm walking through it myself. I've had other men say my men's group's doing this. So, that's just another place. So you can get that. That's a free bonus actually for signing up for my Substack, but you can read all about that on my website, samjolman.com.
Yeah.
There's also a little ebook you'll get on how to give a sex talk to your children.
Yeah.
Trying to bring more of the poetry and the heart to it, and how to make it more than one quick, uncomfortable checkbox, right?
Yep.
How to make it a dialogue that, man, you've written the masterclass that'll put a father and son in tears together.
Yeah, it's so good, bro. It's so good.
But yeah, that's
and just ongoing, in the ongoing nature. Like, hey, I'm going to tell you this much this time. How much do you want to know?
Yes.
He wants to know this much. I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell you this much this time, and then we're going to go later.
Yes.
As questions start to stack up, then we have another breakfast, right? And we do it all again, and he's excited, and he's asking for it, right? Can you imagine? He wants to have these conversations because he's like, I heard this word, and or kids were talking about this, and it's like, okay, let's go talk about that, right? Let's and so there's an ongoing, right, which was what you were saying. It can't just be one isolated conversation and you never talk about it again.
Right.
It's a dialogue.
Right. And what I love about what you're doing there, Johnny, is you are blessing his curiosity.
Yes.
Right. And you're feeding the hunger of his curiosity. And curiosity, sexual curiosity, is natural and normal. And you're meeting, the goal would be that you're giving them just enough to slake the thirst of their curiosity.
Yeah.
Because guaranteed, if they can't come to you to ask what that word means, right? Like my children asking, what are the "that's what she said" jokes?
Yeah.
Right? What is that about? Or what does 69 mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like, not easy conversations.
Right.
Right? And you don't have to say everything.
Yeah.
All at once. You meet their thirst.
Yes.
Of their curiosity, and you say just enough so that they know they can trust you for their information, because otherwise it's going to be their friends or Google.
Yep.
Which are not good places to get your sex education.
Dude, you hit it right on the head. Like, so much of it is, hey, they asked a question. How much do they really want to know? So now I'm asking them questions. Oh, okay. Like like if you ask the right questions, then you're not going to overshare. Whereas if you think they're asking you so that you can just tell them everything you know about the topic, some of which they should know and some of which they shouldn't, then you put yourself in a rough spot. But if you're like, where'd you hear that?
Right.
What was the context?
Right.
And then you start to pull the thread and you find out what they really want to know was maybe only 25% of the whole thing, right?
Yes, exactly.
But you're trying to meet them in the place of the source of their question, not what you think they mean by the question. That's a big one.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah. Nugget, closing nugget for people.
Yeah, that's right, man.
Chicken nugget on top of everything else. Bro, I do have one more. I have one last question for you, and I know we're a little bit over. Can I ask one more question? So I know you're speaking, and you're getting to speak. Is it primarily churches, or do you speak at nonprofits? Like, what are the occasions that you're generally speaking in?
Yeah, I'm doing podcasts, so I love these conversations. This has been one of the greatest joys of becoming an author, is meeting podcasters. You guys are amazing. You guys are like the pastors of the world right now in these like subversive, cool ways. So, you can, look for me on podcasts, and there's a lot out there. And I've reveled in those, as well as this one. And, Other speaking gigs would be, yes, I've spoken at some nonprofits, primarily like some discipleship nonprofits for
Yep.
young men. I've spoken
Yep.
there. I've spoken to some seminaries or some schools of counseling, master's degree programs on sexuality, and then churches,
Yep.
men's groups,
Men's groups.
men's ministry
Yeah.
events,
Yeah.
those sorts of things.
So do you want more of any of that? Because I know you're balancing your therapy, your therapeutic practice,
Right.
and your family, being a good husband and a good dad. So are you wanting more of those occasions or not?
Yes. So, and let me give the footnote to that. Virtual events are so easy to do because I don't have to sacrifice travel and family time to get there. So, being able to do podcasts, and I've done some live virtual events, and those have been meaningful. And I do those on the regular with my Substack community, by the way. If you want to have live conversation at a Q&A, if you're a paid subscriber at Substack, you'll get that opportunity with me every month. So those are great. And I do limit how many in-person I'm doing. So I'm limiting that to 6 a year right now. So I'm happy to talk, and
Okay.
I have some of those lined up.
Yeah.
So slots are limited on those just for family life, but I revel in those as well.
Okay. That's so good. That's very good context. So it's okay to send you, a church or men's group or, a speaking opportunity, but they're going to be limited in your ability to fulfill them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Sam, I love your heart, man. I love your mission, dude. I told Sam before we started recording, I think this book, The Sex Talk You Never Got, it's the most important book that I've read on the topic of Christian sexuality. And it was freeing for me personally. I think it might even be the best, one of the most important books that's ever been written on the topic because of the way he comes at it, right? Because of what you got to hear. I'm a lover first. I am loved and I'm a lover first. That is a game changer. I never heard anybody tell me that. Man, dudes out there, did your dad tell you that? Your dad didn't tell you that.
Right.
We're not saying that to our kids, specifically to our sons, and yes, to our daughters. I mean, but this had to happen. It's one of those moments where I read it and I'm like, it's so simple. Right?
Yes.
It's one of those.
It's so right there.
It's so simple.
Right.
But it's like, but I didn't know. It's so simple,
Yes.
but I didn't know.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
y'all got to pick up that book. Sam, thank you, man. Thank you for joining us today.
Johnny, this has been a true privilege. I have mad respect for you and your work as well in the kingdom of God. And
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
grateful for this chance to sit with you too.
Thank you so much. And everybody who has been with us up to this point, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Take it easy, everybody.